Right up front, I want to apologize for the audio in this video that's coming up. It is apparently actually the audio that was picked up by the microphone on my iPhone XS and not the lav mic that I had plugged into it. I guess I didn't check to make sure that the audio settings showed it was getting the audio from the headset. And so I'm going ahead and publishing this, even though it's the audio quality is not up to the par that I like, mainly because this is the third time I've recorded this session. I decided to do it tonight with FilmicPro, and then I had this problem. But I'm going to go ahead and publish it. I apologize up front, and it just goes back to that tip of always check your audio. All right, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Welcome to my December 5th Creating Photos and Videos episode. I'm, as you see, starting to use this little setup created. I've made a little bit of progress. I still have to pound some nails in the wall here and hang a couple more pictures, but it's coming along. Hopefully it'll work out nicely because I can have it, with the exception of having the camera set up, I can pretty much have this ready to go all the time. Today I want to talk to you about two things. First of all is this cable. More and more these days we are accumulating lots of gadgets, lots of devices, and they all have something in common. They all use a USB charging cable of some sort, but that's where the similarities end. Though the USB is the standard USB plug, the ports through which we charge these devices vary. And there are three primary ones that are popular. And this particular cable is the solution. Instead of having to carry three cables, you only have to carry one. Because this cable, which is from Monoprice, it's called the Monoprice USB-C plus Lightning plus micro USB charging cable. And it is that because of these particular endings. The way it works is the primary plug is the standard micro USB that's used to charge a lot of devices. You know, in fact, this little SanDisk media drive that I use, in fact, I'm using right now to connect FilmicPro to Filmic Remote. And to charge it, I plug in the micro USB cable. This becomes a micro USB charging cable. Okay? If I put the Lightning plug onto the micro USB, now it's a Lightning charging cable. And so I can use this to charge all of my iOS devices. The third plug, again, goes on the micro USB, and it's a USB Type-C. That happens to be what I use to charge my Android Nextbit Robin phone that I have, not as a phone, but as a another camera. The USB-C. It's a very popular and gaining popularity plug. In fact, the new iPads are going to be charged with this, which is an indication that Apple is switching from Lightning to USB-C. So this is a dynamite thing to add to your bag. And if you're not familiar with Monoprice, take a look. I'll put a link in the description. It is a website that sells cables and sells them economically. A second thing that I want to, this is not the second thing, but another thing I want to share with you are these cable wraps. They're hook and loop, you know, Velcro. And I bought 100 of these in a pack, and I use them to wrap all of my cables. Okay, that's item number one. Item number two is Bluetooth buttons. I've reviewed several lightweight selfie stick tripod monopod combos in the last couple months, and every one that I've received has a Bluetooth button included with it. The reason that manufacturers are sending these is because they're very useful when you're using these selfie sticks as selfie sticks. So if you are holding your phone on a selfie stick and it's 3 feet away from you, you can't obviously fire the buttons. You have to use the self timer and smile and wait for it to go off. But if you have a Bluetooth button, which you have paired up with your smartphone, iOS or Android, then you can just click the button and it takes a picture. And it works just out of the box, so to speak, with the default camera app on the iPhone to start and stop videos or to take a shot, you know, photograph. And it also works with a third-party app that I like to use on my iPhone, the Pro Camera app. But it wouldn't work with FilmicPro, the app I'm using right now to record this. And although I'm also using Filmic Remote, which is a great app that works in tandem with FilmicPro, but I wanted to be able to use a Bluetooth button with FilmicPro, and it wouldn't work, and I couldn't understand it. So a week or so ago, I went on to the Facebook FilmicPro group, posted the question, is it possible to use a Bluetooth button with FilmicPro on an iPhone? Well, it didn't take long to get a response. And the response actually was from Kevin, who's one of the chief operating officer of the FilmicPro company. He gave me directions on how to make this work with FilmicPro. And it was to go into the menus on FilmicPro, go to audio, scroll down and click on and activate volume buttons, start recording. I did that and it worked. So the feature was always there. I just didn't know how to use it. Because where this is going to be really useful is when I have my iPhone in a gimbal, for example. It's very difficult to get to that record button. If I have the Bluetooth in my left hand and I've got the camera on a gimbal in my right hand, I can start and stop the video with this. It is at least possible to use a Bluetooth button with FilmicPro. So those are my two things, really three things, counting the little cable wraps for today. And I thank you very much for checking in on this episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye.